guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. This is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Tonight we're going to talk about why men in general don't date single moms. Now, I haven't decided on the thumbnail on this, but I think I'm going to label it something like women try to explain why men should date single moms and prove why we shouldn't. Because the truth of it is, with YouTube statistics, I have about 70, at least according to my statistics on my channel, I have about 7,500 women that watch and are subscribed. So to you women, I will ask you this. Imagine a man wants to date you, but he's $500,000 in debt from his previous relationship. That is a huge burden to take on. Now ask yourself, and it's not your debt. This isn't your debt. Would you date that guy? Now, a lot of women might say no. I imagine most of you would say no. And you may say, well, that's different than having a kid. But is it really to a guy that's not the father? This was the only analogy I could think of to try to explain why men hesitate to marry single moms or even date single moms. Now, I have dated single moms before, and it was always casual. I never got in a long-term relationship. I never met the kids I can't think of any case where I met the kids because it was just like, I'm not a serious dater. Like I'm not looking, or in the past even, I wasn't looking for dating or love or long-term or any of that. And I made it clear. And these women were fine with it. And we went out and she'd get a babysitter. We'd go out on a date. We'd have a good time. And if it came to a little bit of fun, we'd come to my place. But when it comes up to stepping up and getting in a long-term relationship or perhaps marrying a mom, guys are saying no. And with more women being single moms, they're going to find it a challenge to find a guy that's willing to, quote, step up. This is the one where I'm titling this thumbnail, a woman tries to explain to men why they need to date a single mom and convinces all men everywhere in the world to never date a single mom. I won't be able to fit all that in the thumbnail. 9 reasons it takes a strong man to date a single mom. We're going to get into a lot of shaming here. And shaming language does not work on emotionally stable, healthy men. I'll just tell you that now. Calling us names doesn't really bother us. Lashing out at us is not going to change our minds. So the more snarky you get, the less results you're going to have from a good, intelligent, healthy, emotionally stable man. You may find some losers that'll fall for your tripe, but not the rest. Dating in any circumstance has its obstacles, of course. Throw a couple kids into the mix, and you, my friend, will have a whole crap storm of challenges ahead of you. Oh, well, thank you. I'm done. Oh, there's more? Okay. I could elaborate forever, but I'll just cut to the chase and say dating a single mom is not for weak men. It's not for cowards, and certainly not for a-holes. Dating a single mom is reserved for only the greatest, most genuine kind, and real men. Let me tell you why. Well, already we've gone down, the shaming tactics here. So I guess you're going to shame us into wanting to date you? Let's listen to her argument, shall we? Weak men can't handle us or our kids because we're a strong, empowered, brave and bold woman. If you're dating someone that seems traumatized the first time he sees your toddler throw a tantrum, run as fast as you can. I agree, that guy's not ready. This is the type of person that can't handle your lifestyle. Kids have tantrums. Kids, to say the least, can be little jerks at times. As a matter of fact, so can adults. At least kids have an excuse. They are in the process of learning, reasoning, and accurate control of their emotions. If a man gets scared off the first time he's exposed to back-arching screaming and body-flailing craziness, he clearly lacks experience and insensible responsibility. So a CEO that's never had a kid who can be sensible and responsible at work because he doesn't know how to handle a kid, he's never had a kid, and all of a sudden a kid starts screaming and crying and he doesn't know what to do, he lacks sensible reasonability? Okay. If he's standing there mid-tantrum looking to be in shock and contemplating running for the hills, if he looks frightened or disgusted, well, F him. You won't have to say that to him because he'll probably be long gone by then. But here, let's get back into the shaming. Strong men will recognize that this is a normal stage of a child's development. You'd know this, of course, from your 7 children that the guy coming into the relationship has. Or if he doesn't have any, he doesn't know this, so why be hard on him? They will certainly not hold it against you that your child is being a little stinker. On the contrary, they will do their best to help the situation. Better yet, they won't let a little tantrum scare them away from the awesome person you are. They may even have a newfound respect for you because, after all, anyone who deals with that kind of behavior on a regular basis is surely to be considered a darn superhero. Or my sister and I didn't get to throw tantrums because that got locked down real quick by my dad or my mom. So maybe they might say, if this kid's always throwing tantrums, maybe there's a parenting issue here that's, but I don't know. I don't have kids. We don't need to be saved. Number 2, we don't need to be saved. We got to get back to the shaming. Sorry, fellas. Weak, insecure men will feel it necessary to achieve the man of the house role, so to say. Instead of appreciating you and letting you shine in all your glorious strength you are, the manhood will be threatened. After all, you are indeed a force to be reckoned with. You fiercely tackle the responsibilities of home and children by yourself, and yet do so gracefully. One could even say you make it look easy. You're not some damsel in distress that needs this big, strong man to come in and fix everything. You got this handled by yourself. Weak men need to feel superior or to feel strong. A strong man will stand beside you and push you to even greater limits. He will be your biggest supporter. So if I don't bring any finances to the table, but I am an amazing, wonderful man, and I have just enough money to maintain myself but can't chip in, does that make me a good future husband? Or are you going to say, well, I'd like the best opportunity for my kids and for my family? A reasonable person would say, well, yes, yeah, of course somebody would like that. And the same for men. Men a lot of times would say, hey, I want the best opportunity for someone that's going to be with me. Well, you're saying right here in this paragraph, she says, weak men don't bother. We don't need you. We've got it covered. Don't worry about it. But in the previous paragraph, she said you need to be able to handle the tantrums and know how to work together and to handle it. But why would you have to step in and handle it? Because she's got it covered, because she's a strong woman. So then we should stay out of it, right? And just support you. A strong man will stand beside you and push you to even greater limits. So when the kid's throwing a tantrum, he'll say, hey, you got this. You can do this. I know he's being a little monster right now, but I'm your biggest supporter. I think you can handle this. You go ahead. Yeah, that would fly over really well. Right. Games, games, games. Let me be very clear on this point. The only games single moms want to play is with their children. We don't have time for BS. We don't have the extra energy required to exert on trying to read between the lines of all your mixed signals. That's usually women seem to be mixing signals. I thought. Maybe. Chances are we have already spent a good chunk of our time wasted in a relationship that was wrong for us. In the end, our children were absolutely worth everything, of course, but we're going into something new. We don't have nor want any valid reason to waste our time. We've been there, done that. Be real, be an adult, or go find someone else to play your mind games with. We are mature adults that deserve honesty, not some high school twit you can mess with. Okay. You're very frank and to the point. I can appreciate that. However, at no point do I see anything pleasurable about being with you and your child yet. So far, it's about supporting you and letting you lead the charge and not being afraid. That's where we're at so far. And don't play games. I'm just waiting for the fun. We can't be swept off our feet. Those cheesy pickup lines that have worked 90% of your conquests, throw them out the window. They don't apply and simply will not work. We can be temporarily swayed by your dashing good looks and charming persona, but ultimately you can't fool us. Okay. Treat us like you respect us. Treat us like an equal. Okay. Our kids will always come first. I can step over that because I don't want to read forever on this thing. But our kids will always come first. Okay. So far, we're not in charge. We're not to take control. We can't run away when there's a tantrum. We can't play games. We can't sweet talk you. Your kids will come first. You're not looking for a new father figure for him. So that means we can't really parent and help raise the kid. Our tolerance for BS is extinct, which goes back to games. We don't put out. Let's read this one. Hey, a-hole, this one's for you. Our bodies have created and inhabited a human being. We have gone through the amazing process of pregnancy and birth. Yes, our bodies may not be as toned as they were before. We may have scars and stretch marks, battle wounds, you could say. We may be a little saggy and a little frumpier than the average childless woman. Oh, I'm so hot right now. Are the rest of you guys as hot as I am? Yeah. But you know what? Our bodies are an effing temple. Our bodies gave life to children, or children life. We value our bodies and we respect ourselves. We are not an easy lay, as some idiots would believe. If you choose to connect with us, or connect with you in that way, it's either A, because we're using you to satisfy our own needs, or B, you respect us enough to deserve us. We are in control, champ. Last but not least, our children are not baggage. I'm not gonna step on that many. So, okay, so we're not in control. You're in control. Again, I could rehash everything she said. You get it, right? There's no point anywhere in here where not only would I not want to date you, I don't think I like you very much as a person. I'm just being honest. I can already tell that you're controlling, manipulative, angry, harsh. I got news for you. That's not going to win you any awards for getting a guy to date you. And lastly, because I'm going a little long here, lastly, I'm going to read this one more story. And this is from The Sun. And this is kind of along the same veins, but this actually has Rich Cooper on here, a thumb of Rich Cooper. I know some of you watch him for a little bit of dating as well as life advice. I like Rich. He may not quite agree with, I think he's more into ways to explore how to date women. I'm more of a way of how to explore your life and enjoying your life without dating a woman. The thing I like about my way is then if you do want to date a woman, you can, but if you don't, you're very happy. I with Rich, I feel, and I may be wrong about this. I know some of your or his fans may correct me on this. For me, I feel like he's a little bit more about not only bettering yourself, but being successful with women. And to me, it seems like there's a lot of energy put into being successful with women. And I don't know, for me, I think that's wasted energy. But that's just me. But let me be clear, I'm not being harsh on Rich. I like Rich. This article says, are they kidding? They're more expensive than pros. Men confess the outrageous reasons they refuse to date single moms. Now, they're saying they're outrageous, but I think this is a lot of common thread of what we just covered and what we guys often feel. Again, it's about you're not getting time to know a woman and go on casual dates and relax and learn each other, and then you get closer and you get married and then you decide to have a kid. No, that's all done. She's been there, done that, seen it. We're just kind of walking in like, okay, just pop us in here somewhere, I guess. And they go on to explain this. Okay, so these are just some of the brutally offensive reasons that a growing group of men have given for not wanting to date single moms. And I must be brutal because I agree with most of these. On a recent thread on the secret sharing app Whisper, tried to explain the warped reasons they ruled out dating single mothers. So these are warped. Remember, they're setting this precedent up as these ideas are way wrong and warped. Here, Sun Online meets the men who are breaking a taboo by refusing to date single moms. How is that breaking a taboo? Jonathan Cass, 52, has joined their ranks after having been single for 3 years and now makes a point of swiping left on dating apps and rejecting women if there's any mention of a little one at home. He says, I don't want to be second best, he says. There's a real trend in current parenting that the children always have to come first, and women now seem to live for their kids, says Jonathan, who works in film and television and lives in Dunmow, Essex. And he's by no means alone in this. King Riches posted a video on not dating single mothers, which, amongst the other things, says she should be focused on her kids, not on a man's pipe. And Richard Cooper, YouTube's talk on the dangers of dating single mothers, has been viewed 583,297 times. That is a very specific number. The clip opens with a slide showing a woman holding a baby with a meme. This is not a meme. This is a saying on a picture. Already you don't understand what a meme is. Single mother here. Please take care of some other man's ball of flesh that eats money, destroys dreams, and poops stress. I offer you my ruined vagine and mental issues. On another shocking blog called Everything Must Go, one of the posts is titled, Don't Date Single Mothers, Here's Why. Reason number 5 is, a woman who has given birth can't ever have a body close to what she had before carrying a child. This is not saying that having a child isn't worth it. So he's not saying it's a bad thing. He said, I'm not saying it's not worth it. It's just a lot of women aren't able to get their bodies back. But this is not about you having a child. The child is hers, not yours. Her body was changed by something that is of no benefit to you. Now, for those of you, and the reason why I read this other article before this one is, let's go back and look at what they've said here. Remember, this, she says here, that this is warped. This thinking is warped. That they say here, I don't want to be second best. And we come back over here, and guess what? Our kids will always come first. She says it right here. And they talk about here that her body's not going to be back. And I didn't get any of the, yes, I understand it's had some damage and it's done an amazing thing by having a kid, but I had no part of that. So instead of having the beautiful dream Ferrari that you drive around for 7 years and then you go too fast around a corner, you crash it, and you have to buy a minivan, you got those 7 years of enjoying driving the Ferrari around. Well, his point is, look, I'm showing up and the Ferrari has already crashed. I just get to show up at the minivan part. I want someone I can have the Ferrari with. And if you want to say, hey, I don't agree with that, let's come back over here. Right? Our bodies are damaged and stretch marks and things happen when you have a kid. And if you don't like it, get out. And I quote what she says. We are in control, champ. We're not easy. Okay, fine. But she's saying it. So when over here on this article, they say, well, this is warped. Well, but these are your own words from another woman. These are two women. So these two women disagree with each other, apparently. So he said, second best. Jonathan explains, I'm really a spontaneous person and love the idea of saying to my partner, come on, pack your bags, let's go away for a couple of days, but you can't do that with kids. Everything has to be planned and organized beforehand. He also struggles with the emotional burden of having to be a father figure to someone else's child. And that's true. If you are a good man, who is going to date a single mother and long-term, you should be a good parental figure for that child. You should have permissions to help them grow, help them develop, help them become a good man or a good woman. If you're not allowed to do that, you feel like rent-a-dad, like you're there just as an ATM. You don't get to partake in the raising of the kid. And a lot of guys want that. But are they going to be given the permission to do that? Let's go back to our other article, shall we? They say here, we aren't looking for a daddy. Our kids have a dad. We don't need you to play daddy for them. There you go. She says it right there. Not interested. So how's he wrong? How's this article wrong? And again, if you don't like what I'm saying, then you disagree with one of these articles, because I'm just reading article versus article. He says, I've been married twice and have a son in my first marriage who is now 27. And in between the two marriages, I did date a woman with a son, but I felt like she wanted me to become a father figure. I felt like she wanted me to become a father figure to this child. It raised lots of complex feelings. I feel guilty to be spending more time with her and her son than my own, and I didn't like the idea of stepping on someone else's toes as his biological father was still very much around. While Jonathan wouldn't mind if a potential partner had grown up children, provided they were no longer at home and doing their own thing, young ones are definitely out. I don't see him being unreasonable in this. He's not just screaming, kids. He's giving some valid concerns here. And the other article Again, I'm using that as devil's advocate. The other article, she even explains this. Now, again, we're not talking about all women. And could I have gone and found other articles? Yes, but these are literally the first 5 I pulled up. And I found which ones I thought could go against each other here. Yes, there are women out there would very much like to meet a great guy and get married and have him be a part of their life. And yes, there are men out there that maybe can't have kids that would like to get married and have children that they can help raise and have that familial feeling. And since they can't have kids, they could still be a father figure to someone. But again, we're talking about percentages here. We're talking about a larger group of people here. And I think this boils down to how a lot of people feel about it. If you look on a lot of dating apps and you just go, well, you can go looking for it, like Tinder, bad Tinder profiles. You'll see a lot of women, say it all with me, my kid is my world. It's used so much, that is a meme. My child is my world, my kid is my world, my child is my world. We get it, they come first. But for a lot of guys that want to find somebody and maybe have kids or have a long-term relationship, they want to come first. And that's all they're saying is, look, I'm walking into this. I know I'm not in first place. I'm like in fourth if they have multiple kids and a pet. And it's expected for men to provide. So if you get in a long-term relationship with this woman or marry her, you are expected to take care of the family. A lot of women want equal pay, but they still want the man to step up, take care of the family. Well, it's not now you and her, it's you and her and maybe a child or 2. You're now you're going from being a single person to like 3 or 4. That's a lot of financial burden, that's a lot of stress. That's asking for a lot for a guy to come into and man up about. And I don't think women understand that. They go on to continue. He says, I don't want to be part of the family unit and splashing out on days out together. Single moms are too expensive. I'm feeling selfish and not dating women with children is part of that. I agree. If women can say, I don't want a guy over 6 foot tall, that's just like, men can't control that. If a woman says, I want a guy with 6-pack abs and is attractive, well, men can't control that. But, I mean, men can control being athletic, but they can't control their face. Well, how's it different when a guy says, I just prefer a non-mom? Well, a lot of them are non-moms. Okay. A lot of us aren't 6 feet tall either. It's called preferences. You can't shame somebody into not using a preference that they have. And these guys are giving good reasons. There are 2 million single parents in the UK, and 91% of them are women. How does that, now if you need another statistic, a back-end statistic, 91% of women get child custody control in the UK. So you guys out there that are like, oh, I want to get married and have kids. Statistics, if you get divorced, you have a 9% chance to have your kids. I mean, or the majority of the time. The list of celebs, don't care. I won't spend my hard-earned money on them, this guy says. He kind of agrees with the other one. And this guy says that her son walked in on us in the bedroom. He said he's 46, but he still wants to settle down and have at least 2 kids. At 46, he's up there for sure. He said, which can still be an issue for some single moms who are wary of entering new relationships and having more children. They've been there, done that, and don't necessarily want more, says Dan, a self-employed businessman from North London. After all, it hasn't worked out once before, so why should they risk having more kids? And that's true. A lot of moms that have had a kid or 2 say, I'm done. So if a guy does want kids, he's also not interested in a single mom. And the last thing he said here is, one of my exes had a 12-year-old son, and we'd been having an on and off for a few years. The last time we went out in February, we were trying to catch up on. Okay, that didn't make that sentence very well. The last time we went out in February, we were trying to catch up in her bedroom, talking, being intimate, and her son just walked in on us while they're being intimate. She seemed fine with it. She said he knew about us, and he has the right to see her when she wants, but that totally put me off. I'm not on the biological father, so it means I can't set any of the standard rules. The kids of another woman I dated didn't really accept me, and there was a feeling of, who are you? You're not my dad, and it just added complications. And the last, and just very quickly here, the last screenshot I have is this. Now, this is a Tinder app, or a Tinder screenshot. And this is also something that resides in a man's mind when it comes to moms nowadays, is that, you know, it used to be, and I don't know how back used to be, but way back when, there were many more kids that were born in wedlock. And so the woman and man were married, they had kids. If they got divorced, maybe mom kept the kids, but it was the product of a long-term relationship, and it was the product of marriage. Today, a lot of single moms have exhibited bad choices in partners and bad choices in the men that they've chosen. And this is a challenge for guys for multiple reasons. Let's read this. I am 20 weeks pregnant and I give birth in April to a baby boy. I am single mom. My ex left me at 7 weeks pregnant and harmed me. Now, either A, she wasn't with him for an exceptionally long time to realize he was a bad person. B, maybe he flipped out and went like really bad after finding out about that. But she's 23 and she's 20 weeks in. Divide that, that's 5 months. Why are you on a dating site? Like, don't you have other priorities, maybe such as getting ready to be a mom? Why are you just rushing out to find a guy? What is it that you need? And so a lot of guys see single motherhood, especially nowadays, and they say, was this a product of a good decision? Marriage and a family, and it just didn't work out, or he was a service member, went overseas and didn't come home, because, you know, there's a lot of differences in that. Versus, we didn't have any protection. We just, you know, it was a Friday night, and that's a big difference, and it tells you a lot about someone's morals. And to a lot of men, that's important too. And so here, when you look at someone that's 23 and you're currently in the mommy way, and you're telling me that your ex is a horrible person, a guy walking in or seeing this has to say, A, she still hasn't had the kid yet. And she's, you know, on the way. That's crazy. Number two, why is she looking for somebody after 5 months being in? And this guy left at 7 weeks, which is 2 months. So she's been single all of 3 months. And during those 3 months, she's been pregnant. What life choices are we making? Is this a good person to go out with? A rational man would say, no, there are so many red flags here. And then lastly, who wants to get involved with something like this? So when it boils down, this is something else that guys have to take. And gosh knows, if the ex is that like nuts, who wants to be around her and then knock, knock, knock? Oh, it's the crazy ex that used to harm her. But now you got to man up, man. You got to protect her. No. And this guy's is just, you know, a good list of why men are just, forget it. Guys, if you'd like to support my work, links are below as always. And if you have, thank you very much. Some of you have really dug deep, and that means a lot to me, and I really appreciate that. It definitely helps my channel out. And the best way you can support me is like, comment, share, subscribe, and check me over on betterbachelor.locals.com. And we'll be having some fun videos, exclusive videos over there, probably starting next week. Guys, I'll leave it there. This is Better Bachelor. I'm Joker. And remember, there's just a whole ton of reasons why guys don't want to get involved with single moms. In some cases, maybe those are great women that had a healthy relationship and things just didn't work out. But that number is becoming smaller and smaller. And more women are becoming the products of bad choices. And one of the warning flags of those bad choices is being a single mom.